Hey Cubicle Crashers, I'm Lydia Lee and welcome to another episode of Screw the Cubicle TV, where we'll be exploring the freedom-based mindset and of course how you can create a lifestyle and business on your own terms. So this week we'll be talking a little bit more, a bigger concept than being trapped in a cubicle, because the idea and the concept actually about Screw the Cubicle is more than just quitting your job. It's about this mental cubicle that we live in that prevents us from seeing the possibilities and opportunities that are beyond what we know. So you know that thing in your head, that noggin that keeps talking to you and saying things like, we can't do that, we don't know how to do that, or you're not good enough to do that, we're too afraid to do that. That thing will kind of never stop talking to you. But lucky for you, the brain is a really malleable thing. It's quite flexible and in a way it's open enough to make beliefs for you that will dictate your life depending on what you feed it. You know when a friend says to you, and maybe they're making a comment on a mole that you've had on your body for years, and she might go, "Holy crap, you should really get that looked at. It looks pretty serious." And then she just goes home and gets on with her day, and you're sitting there going, "Thanks for telling me that," and you just can't now stop looking at this mole. So at night you're like, just having a panic attack or anxiety, and every day you look at it, it almost seems to grow in size, and then one final day you actually feel like something is wrong with you from looking at it so much. Well, that's your brain forming a belief about something that's kind of been brought into its reality, and then finding all types of evidence to validate that belief. So Abraham Hicks says that a belief is only a thought that you just keep thinking. Isn't that true? How do we get rid of the beliefs that we don't want and feed it new beliefs that we actually want to believe to actually get us to where we want to go? So the first thing I want you to do is make a list of all the fears and things that you feel are preventing you from actually getting what you want, whatever that is. It might be about leaving your job, it might be about leaving your husband, maybe, or even it might be about, I want a different life and I'm scared that I'm not allowed to have it or that it won't work out for me. So really take the time to list out every single thing, even if it sounds stupid. The fact that you thought it means it exists. So just be honest with yourself, be genuine about it, and just write it down. So being able to acknowledge your fears isn't saying that you agree with them. It's just saying that, hi, I hear you and you ain't gonna stop talking. So let's just find out what we have to play with here, right? It's kind of negotiating with that part of you, whether it's your inner critic or the inner judge. There's something to be said and it wants you to hear it out. And so if you keep going, go away, it just doesn't. It's kind of like the analogy I sometimes give my clients, and I hope my mom isn't watching this video, but for example, my mother was a very strict parent when I was younger. And she would say, no, you're not allowed to sleep over in the next door neighbor's house because I can't see where you're going and maybe you're out partying. And so I was never really allowed sleepovers. So the first time that I really wanted to actually go to a birthday party next door and not be embarrassed with my friends to say I'm not allowed to go, I had to have this negotiation process with my mom. And it's like, okay, well, mom, what are you actually really afraid of for me actually going to this party? And she'll go, well, what have you been drinking, blah, 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 blah. So I had to negotiate and go, well, what if I called you every couple hours, or you got to talk to the parent of that family and know that I'm safe and sound and I'll come back at this time? And would that feel okay for you? And so there's this negotiation process that you can do where, again, acknowledging it isn't saying yes to it or that you agree with it. It's just saying, I want to hear you out and let's play nice together and find out what you need to know and hear from me, and validate that part of you that needs to know those answers. And know this, behind every fear is a belief about something. So you may have all different types of circumstances that give you fear, or different types of forms of fear that keep coming into your life, but all of it is just a different mask of fear. But underneath it all, you probably notice quite similar beliefs that are attached to all these fears. So they might be coming in different forms, but they're actually stemming from a few beliefs that are very strong in the core root of who you are, that is dictating what is Amber Alert for you, or the fact that we're going to die if we do this. So kind of when you write it down, you might almost want to start to ask yourself the question, what do I really believe could happen to me if this happened, and get to the root of that fear and understand what is that belief about myself if this was to occur, and see if there's any kind of commonalities of themes of beliefs that are coming up for you when you do this exercise. So the second step is, how can you feed new evidence to your brain so it can form new beliefs that are actually going to serve you? Now that you know that the brain's kind of like a computer, you can either insert a virus in it and it's going to just jam up everything in your head, or you can feed it a system or a software that's going to make the life a little bit easier for you. And if you're stubborn like me, where I am, I like to dream from the heart as well, but I have this logical brain that I honor as well, my intelligence, my intellect. And if you're like me, you kind of aren't, wanting to do like the whole Shiva Shakti awakening thing to get rid of fear. You kind of need a little bit of additional logic, that's going to make you believe that something could be real for you. So yes, I believe in verbiage for sure, languaging and the way you talk to yourself and the way you say things. So mantras really help with that. Repeating something over and over again on a daily basis can help your brain absorb new ways of thought. But sometimes to kind of accelerate that process, you need to really feed it kind of real logical things that will really help you get moving onto forming this belief quicker. So how do you make it real for your brain to really take on new information and know the possibilities of what it can be for you? So firstly, think about what's the missing gaps of information that you need, or a validated feeling that you need in order for you to move forward with a particular fear. So think about, if you're trapped in a cubicle, for example, what's the first thing that comes to mind of something you're fearing about? Well, what would I do? If I quit my job, I don't know what I would do. Okay, great fear to have, totally about survival, and you're meant to have that. And then think about what's that question you would like to ask. So are you needing to find out what you're great at? Do you need to talk to someone else that's already screwed the cubicle and can give you some tips on what they did to do something? What do you need to know? Who do you need to talk to that's really going to give you information that you need, that's kind of ahead of the curve or already doing things that you are wanting to do? And pick their brain. People love to talk about things that they've overcome. So even people that know about Screw the Cubicle and my past history with this transition for myself, they will email me or call me and to go, can I just pick your brain for 15 minutes about something that I think would make the difference for me, to be able to see the possibility for myself? And I'm happy to do it because I love sharing that information. So don't limit yourself to what you think you know only. Go out there and ask for advice, ask for tips of how to do it in a more shortcut way. And maybe you're having a bit of a gray area of understanding, I want to build this business I have an idea about, and I don't really know how to do it. I've never done an e-commerce site before, or I've never done this online-based thing before. Well, of course, that's fine, but go and find out how to do this. So there's a book written somewhere about something you want to know about. There's a course you can take. There's a group you can join. There's so many access to information that once you post a question out, people will answer you, or you can invest the time to learn it, and then fill that gap for yourself. And one thing I really like to hear about is stories. Like, I don't do well sometimes with reading just a very success story of someone else, and I go, yeah, it's not really for me. I didn't go there, or I don't think I'm capable of going there. And the brain does that to trick you, right? So sometimes talking to a real person with a real story and understanding the hurdles and asking, what was the most difficult thing that you did, and how did you overcome it? Then your brain kind of almost accepts that, okay, it's not this quick and easy thing. It's not possible, but there's room to improve this. There's another door. There's another solution, and I think that makes a huge difference with really taking on and being able to absorb that information, and then having the feelings of going, okay, that might be possible for me. That person had a very similar bring up like I did. They also didn't come from money, or whatever it is. That's the belief that only successful people come from money. You have to go find that opposite. The opposite of what you really want to believe. That if you work hard and you're on the right path and you're doing things you love, that money can come to you. That's a fear of yours. So do your responsibility and accountability to yourself to find out what you need to know. What is that missing gap of information that's really going to get you closer from how you're feeling right now to where you want to go and what you want to feel like. One of my favorite reality check sayings is, and if you're a Pirates of the Caribbean fan, you're going to know which one I'm talking about. And it's by Captain Jack Sparrow, where he says, "The problem is not the problem, it is your attitude about the problem." And I love this quote because it reminds me again that I myself am in control of the situation. So in our reality, both things are happening. All these kind of horrible things that could happen to us, and all these fears and all these things that aren't moving for us. And then there's this other thing that's also happening, this doorway of opportunity, this open possibilities of something that we don't know about, but it's existing simultaneously with all these other negative things. There's all these other positive things that are in our vicinity. And it's really choosing where to focus our attention and focus our intent of what we really want. Then your lenses can really shift to pick up. It's kind of like a magnet or a radar to pick up all those things that will bring you this other new belief. So you're in charge. You're kind of that lens mover. You are the one that has to get to move the lens and know where to focus it on. So if you're thinking something that you don't like thinking, don't think about it. Think about what else can you think about that is really going to be more positive and giving you a much better feeling. And your feelings can't really lie to you. So when you're feeling bad about something, it's because you're not meant to be feeling that. So what would you like to feel instead? And if you once you recognize and identify that emotion, how can I make this emotion come to life? What do I need to know? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to find out to cause this emotion to activate for me? So I would love to know from you, what is one fear that you want to tackle this week, and what is the belief behind it that you would like to change for yourself? And of course, I'm come join the discussion where we have on the blog post that I'll post in the link after this video, to make sure that you join in on the asking me the Q&As about this particular video blog, and I can help you any way that I can. And until next time, the next episode, I hope you join me again for the Screw the Cubicle TV show. See you later. Hey, thank you so very much for watching Screw the Cubicle TV, and don't forget to subscribe below to get all the latest cubicle crashing content on how to quit your 9 to 5 and create a life and business on your own terms.